In this video, I will provide rock-solid evidence taken directly from the Bible and the Muslim Quran, which proves that the true identity of the Islamic Jesus, known as Isa, expected by Muslims to arrive at the end of this age, is none other than the ancient Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar II, who will actually return from the dead by rising up out of hell. In addition to that, I will also show that he is the biblical Antichrist. The image featured on this page is a 100% genuine ancient depiction of King Nebuchadnezzar himself. It dates back approximately 2,600 years and was found in Iraq. As you can see, it appears to be highly prophetic in that it shows Nebuchadnezzar dropping what looks like to be a nuclear bomb. On the right side of the image, you can even see the mushroom cloud from a nuclear explosion, along with the emanating radioactive fallout wind. This image is most probably a foretelling of future events which will actually take place when he returns in the guise of the Islamic Isa, sometime during the 7-year tribulation period. According to the Bible, in the book of Ezekiel, it contains an end-time prophecy about King Nebuchadnezzar II, which will take place during the final 7 years of this age. Unfortunately, nobody understands this prophecy apart from myself and only a handful of other people. It vividly describes a future scenario where Nebuchadnezzar, disguised as the Islamic Isa, will make a second appearance to the world shortly after returning from the dead. Basically, the prophecy describes how Nebuchadnezzar will lead a large coalition of Islamic nations to completely destroy the city of Tyre in southern Lebanon. The end result being that Tyre becomes a burnt out rock, never to be inhabited again. Then, shortly after this takes place, he will go on to attack Egypt and loot its hidden treasures. But how can we be assured that this is an end-time prophecy scheduled to take place during the last days of this age? Simple. According to history, when King Nebuchadnezzar was alive approximately 2,600 years ago, it is a fact that Nebuchadnezzar never permanently destroyed Tyre, shortly followed by the ransacking of Egypt. Here is that photo again of modern day Tyre. As you can see, it doesn't look permanently destroyed to me. Therefore, this prophesied permanent destruction has to be a future event. I will elaborate on this subject later. In a previous video I made titled Islamic Isa is the Antichrist, I provided shocking evidence which leads to the inevitable conclusion that the Islamic Jesus, known as Isa, is none other than a Jesus imposter, who the Bible actually identifies as the forthcoming Antichrist. It is a common belief amongst Christians that Jesus is the English name for the eternal Son of God. However, his original name in the Hebrew language is Yeshua. Therefore, it is a fact that Yeshua is the original untranslated name for the Son of God. The name Yeshua means Jehovah saves, or Yahweh saves. Please note that Jehovah is the actual name of Almighty God, as confirmed in the Torah, Old Testament. This name is found approximately 6,220 times in the earliest Old Testament manuscripts, and it's still being used by both Christians and Jews today. In Islam, the Quran and Hadith teaches that the Arabic translation of Yeshua is the word Isa. However, this is 100% false. Do not accept this lie under any circumstances. The correct Arabic translation for Yeshua is Yasu. Here they are next to each other for you to compare. Notice the obvious difference between them. Oh, and by the way, the real Jesus is on the right. The fake Jesus is on the left. However, many Muslims practicing taqiyya deception will attempt to explain this away by saying that Isa is the Arabic translation of Yeshua from the Aramaic. But this is debatable and very suspect. And if true, it means that Isa is a translation of a translation. Now this smells incredibly fishy. Therefore, we are left with the inevitable conclusion that this is a clever deception by Allah, who is clearly attempting to distort the name of Yeshua along with its true meaning. As I have already shown, Yeshua means Jehovah saves, or Yahweh saves. Okay, so it's very clear. In the Bible, the true name of Almighty God, the Creator, is Yehovah in the original Hebrew dialect. However, in the Quran, this name is absolutely nowhere to be found. Instead, it has been suspiciously substituted with the Arabic word Allah, which means the God in English. Strangely enough, all Muslims insist that Allah is not a title, but God's personal name. They openly reject Jehovah, the true God, choosing instead to embrace Allah in his place. This just goes to show that Jehovah and Allah are clearly not the same God, but are instead two entirely separate and unrelated entities. Jehovah is the true God, whereas Allah is the fake God, imposter. So we can see that Allah, the author of the Quran, has intentionally distorted or clouded the meaning of Jesus, Yeshua's name, by changing it to an incorrect translation, so that Jehovah is nowhere to be found in it. Instead, we are falsely told that Yeshua, translated to Arabic, is Isa, even though it isn't. As I have already shown, the correct translation is Yasu. The truth is that Allah cannot afford to let anyone know that it is Jehovah who saves mankind and not Allah, because this would expose Islam as the lie that it actually is. This is why the so-called Arabic word Isa has absolutely no meaning. Basically, it's not worth the paper it's printed on.